Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're going to do another comparison review between a Generation 1 toy and a modern version. This is another one that I want to give a shout out to Ann for pointing out that he was available at Ollie's, so I got him pretty cheap. We're going to take a look this time at Quake. Of course, the original Quake is over here on the left. He was put out in 1988. He was a small Target Master, which meant that he came with two Target Master guns that he could either dual wield or combine, as is in the case of mine, into a super weapon. I've got him combined there because Quake's the only one out of those six that he comes with his own regular gun. That's his tank gun there. And then over here on this side, we have the Titans Return Quake. And as you can see, there are considerable differences between the two toys, but there are quite a few similarities in the toys as well, so I'm very impressed with that. Of course, one of the first things I want to point out is the slight name change that was done, because the original toy's guns were called, this one was Tip Top, and the upper one here, he was called Heater. The head on the modern toy is called Chasm, so it's a slight disappointment that they're not using one or the other of those names, but Chasm works well since chasms are sometimes formed from earthquakes. So it's a silly change, but I think a better homage to the original would have been to have went with one of those two, as many of the other toys that they have put out that did have a Target Master variant in the G1 line, their name is somewhat similar to that, but it is a forgivable thing. As you can see, there's a lot of similarities between the two. They both have the gray arms. Tank treads are forming the legs. Even the heads are shaped somewhat similar, and the facial area is painted up on both, so that's a nice touch. Well, let's see all the other differences we can go with, starting with articulation. Now, the original Quake, you could rotate his arms at the shoulder, and he did have some movement here at his wrist. The ankles could be folded inward, but that's more for transforming, and he could do a full splits on his legs. What can the new guy do? Well, as expected, the new guy does so much more. Let's see, you can rotate his arm at the shoulder, and you do have some shoulder movement there as well. And you do have a joint at the elbow, so he can bend at the elbow and turn his arm at the elbow. So it's kind of, take a look at that. He's got swivel arm battle grip, like the G.I. Joes did. I also failed to mention, the heads can rotate on him. Head rotates on the other one too. I've decapitated him. Decapitated him, folks. Alright, that's fixed. He's back in there now. All joking aside, let's see, on the legs, we can, once again, do a full splits as necessary. But he can also bring his leg forward like so, and you can bend at the knee like so, and even bend at the ankle. So, quite a fair amount of articulation in the new toy. I am very impressed. It's nice to see the new changes that they've done to many of these new guys, and still pay some homage to the originals. Now, let's get ready and transform them to their alternate modes and see how that carries over there. Oh yeah, quite a considerable difference here, folks. I mean, take a gander at this. Well, I mean, part of it's due to the fact the original Quake was still done to resemble a real tank. The original Quake was set up to be a variation of an Abrams tank. And of course, with him being a dual target master, he could attach the combined form of his gun as a turret, or use either one of them in place of it, and switch out his main cannon for one of them. So, had a more impressive bit of fire. Hold on a second. Sorry folks, had to take that call. Anyways, like we said, the original Quake here was done to be an Abrams tank, specifically, so that kind of limited what he could do. And due to the way they set up the Target Master system, you can't rotate the turret, but he does have some metal wheels, does allow him to roll pretty good. The modern Quake is set up to look more like a Cybertronian tank. He kind of brings to mind Warpath from the Cybertron series of video games. So, but he's done up considerably differently. The nice shoulder cannon does function as the primary turret, and of course you can add his rifle as a secondary gun to rotate around. And of course you got the driver's compartment over here. This is where Chasm can sit. A little hard to do one-handed here, folks. Give me a second. Lift that up a bit, and then there we go. Squeeze that loose, and there we go. There's Chasm in the driver's seat. Of course, take the other gun out, and over here, for some added fun, you can put a second guy in to be a gunner. Right now, though, I don't have a second spare one just lying around here, but at any rate, that's a nice little addition to it. I like the fact the color schemes were kept the same between the two toys. That really shines out for me in my eyes, and of course this one's on some plastic wheels, but get the old one out of the way here, and hey, he rolls pretty good himself. So, not bad at all, fans. Not bad at all. Now we're down to my thoughts. What do I think of the two of them? Well, that's a tough debate. I was always a fan of the G1 version of Quake. He was my first small target master. Heck, he was my first target master, period. So, he always has held a special place in my heart. And the fact that I always have loved the way his bio was presented, as he is kind of on the crazy side. This new one, however, does impress me with how well, one, that it does pay homage to the original toy, and two, for how much of an improvement it is on the original toy. I mean, still, he's not going to replace the original in my eyes 100%, but I do like what they've done with him. I like the new bit of articulation. I do like the shoulder cannon. I mean, this having the little minifigures to place in the cockpits, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. I'm not fully sold on it yet, but kind of getting there. But in the long run, I do find the Titans Return version to be a worthwhile addition to one's collection. He is a nice tribute to the original, color-wise, and I mean, even the lightning bolt Decepticon insignias there on his shoulders still match closely to the ones on the original toy. You just can't beat it. It's a nice tribute to a classic and somewhat forgotten character in the Generation 1 line. I love it. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to say this one is a favorite for me, and if I had to put him in a tier, I'd put him in the top tier, just because I just love how well he's done. So, there we go, top tier. And that's my comparison review for the Decepticon character Quake. If you liked the video, please, again, leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. Please also consider sharing your thoughts of either version of Quake in the comments section down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.